Welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Lakshmi, retired professor and UGC Emeritus Fellow of Department of Library and Information Science, Andhra University, Visakhapatnam. The presentation today is on indexing and abstracting sources, that is Unit 10 in your course 5 of Information Sources, Services and Systems. Indexing and abstracting sources. These are also location tools. You may be wondering, already bibliographical sources are location tools, then where is the need for having another type of location tools? Your doubt is genuine. Bibliographical sources are for macro documents, that is for books, whereas there are a number of articles coming in each and every journal. So how to find in which journal a particular article on a particular concept is coming? So indexing and abstracting sources are mainly concerned with the micro thought or the articles published in a journal. Ranganathan has called them as nascent thought also because they are providing the current information. While discussing about indexing and abstracting periodicals, we need little more clarification because indexing and abstracting is discussed in three contexts. First one is indexing and abstracting as a source of information that provides secondary information after gathering information from the primary sources. Second thing is as a service, that is preparation of indexing and abstracting periodicals as a service within the library or procuring those services from outside the library. And third context is while preparing catalog cards, will provide index terms or subject headings following the standard Thesaurus or Library of Congress subject headings or CS list of subject headings like that. So this is also called as index terms or indexing, subject indexing. So in three contexts, in sources, as services and as subject indexing, in three contexts we are using. However, in this particular unit, the emphasis is only on indexing and abstracting sources that are already published and how they are used, what are the different types of indexing and abstracting sources available and how to make use of them, who are the major publishers in this and what are the best examples of indexing and abstracting sources in different subjects. All these things we are going to discuss in this particular unit. The first part of this module deals with the indexing sources and the latter part with the abstracting sources. So first let us see indexing sources. The word index is derived from the Latin word indicare and it is a location tool. The American National Standards Institute has defined an index as a systematic guide to items contained in or concepts derived from a collection. These items or derived concepts are represented by entries arranged in a known or stated searchable order, just like our catalog entries or bibliographical entries. So it is a method of document representation, otherwise called as surrogate of information, that tells a user quickly where an information item is to be found and where it is filed. It facilitates the identification or selection of relevant desired documents containing the required information. When these indexes have been originated, bibliographies have a long history, whereas index and abstracts are not having that long history. Indexing owes its origin to the traditional book index. At the end of a book, you will find the index given by the author that gives the concepts arranged in alphabetical order, and against each concept the author will provide the page number where that information is available. So that index is an indexing tool or location tool to find out in which page a particular concept is available. Similarly, the same principle is followed in the preparation of indexes. Actually, the bibliographical indexes or subject indexes were started with the same principle using the subject headings or keywords. During the second quarter of 20th century, there was unprecedented growth of periodicals. Therefore, bibliographical control tool became a necessity not only for books but even for the periodical articles. With this intention, Pohl's Index to Periodical Literature and Index Medicus were published in the 19th century. Later, Index Medicus became online and It is available as Medlar's Medline. However, Index Medicus ceased its printed version from 2004 and now available as PubMed database. Now, indexing periodicals in print or electronic databases are available in almost all subjects. So, what I am going to say here is, indexing periodicals started in printed form, but most of them are available in as databases in electronic form, and some abstracting and indexing periodicals have ceased their publication in print form and available only in electronic form. So, while discussing about the indexing and abstracting periodicals, you have to think both about the print version as well as the electronic formats also. You have to give equal importance to both. Now, the structure of index. Basically, the indexing is having two parts. Searching part, that is with which you will search. Usually, we will search a document with author, title, or a keyword or a subject heading that represents the original document. That will use as a tool for search. Next one is citation, that is the description of the document where this information is available. This gives a brief information of the document that facilitates identification of the original document. Along with the author, title, we are providing the name of the journal, volume number, issue number, page number, all these details. So, these details are called as citation details. The searching part will have only one entry element, either a keyword or a subject concept or author or the institution name. Only one entry element will be there, but citation includes the author, title and the volume number, issue number, all other details. What are the uses of index? Why we need index? The primary use of index, already we have seen, it is a location tool. It gives an overview of the subject. What are the publications available on a particular subject for a particular month or for a particular week or for a particular year. It provides access to information and it resolves language problem. That is the main thing. That is, there may be Russian journals, there may be German journals, there may be French journals, but the indexes and abstracts will be prepared only in English language. So, that is how they are providing access to any journal that is published in any language. If we really want that particular issue, we can get it translated and we can procure it. That is the advantage. It resolves the problem of information explosion. For example, in medical sciences, more than 6,000 journals are being published. No medical professional can go through them. Even the entire list also he can go through. He cannot go through. That is a difficulty. So, the indexes are providing, they are getting all those periodicals, compiling the indexes on specific subject areas. So, they are providing the list on specific subject area, maybe on blood coagulation or maybe on blood cancer. So, this is how on a specific subject they are listing. So, a professional, medical professional can just go through that particular area and he can go through the actual original articles. It explores the content beyond library subscription. That is not only the documents that are available in library, those we are not subscribing to also we can have access. It enhances retrospective coverage also, not only current coverage, even retrospective, because cumulative indexes are available for the past years which we can refer to. The basic functions of indexing periodicals. Indexing periodicals perform the following activities. It facilitates subject, author and title approach to seek information, provides information on contemporary or current issues, facilitates search through specific subject headings and reveals trend in the growth of a subject. This already we have seen under their purpose. However, the primary function of indexing periodical is compilation of title of articles under standard index terms. Index terms are the surrogates or that represents the subject under which the particular article will go. Providing bibliographical details or the citation, which we mentioned as citation, for identification of the item and arranging them in alphabetical order for easy retrieval. These are the primary functions of a indexing periodical. Generally, indexes and abstracts are divided into three types, that is general, subject and citation. General indexes are like that combines all subjects. For example, New York Times newspaper, index of New York Times index. So, that is called general, that combines all. Next, subject, for example, only in library and information science are only in medical sciences, index medicus, library and information science abstracts. They are confined only to one particular subject. These two are very common. Everyone is familiar with these two. Third one is citation index. This is a little bit different. For example, every author in a journal article, or maybe in a research report, or maybe a thesis, or maybe in a book, wherever it may be, every author will cite or will refer certain documents, and these documents will be cited at the end of that article or at the footnote. So these are called as cited references. The importance of these cited references is these are also related to the subject they are dealing with. So if an index is prepared for all these cited references, it is called as citation index. So in the coming slides, we are going to have a presentation in detail about these three: general, subject and citation indexes with suitable examples. General, as the name indicates, it includes all types of subject fields. That's why we are calling it as general. So general index, that lists periodical publications. Examples are all newspapers it may include, that is New York Times index, or it may be Reader's Guide to Periodical Literature. General indexes to table of contents. These are the other type of indexes that list title, content pages of different journals in offering. So these are the general periodicals. Subject indexing sources. These are much of interest to library professionals because we are concerned with academic and scientific information. We are mainly concerned with subject indexing sources. Subject indexes covering not only several periodicals but also material found in other books, pamphlets, government documents and reports. The purpose is to index material in a narrow subject field. Some examples are Conference Papers Index. It's a monthly published by Cambridge Scientific Abstracts, popular as CSA. And Indian Science Index, it is an annual publication by Indian Documentation Services, New Delhi. And Index to Scientific and Technical Proceedings, it's a monthly publication from ISI, Philadelphia. Specific subject indexes, current papers in physics. It indexes 65,000 papers annually from over 900 physics periodicals of the world. Index Medicus, it is a monthly periodical. It indexes about 5051 periodicals by author and subject, giving a citation under each entry. It is cumulated annually. The third type of indexes are citation indexes. Each article will give certain citations or referred documents. These are called as cited references. So these cited references are also relevant to the original article given by, that is why cited by the author. So these cited references are also important for the user along with the original article. So that is the importance of these cited indexes. The citation index is based on two factors. A document giving citations of the previously published document indicates subject relationship between the current document and the old document, that is the cited document. The documents which cite the same publication have same subject relationship with each other. The best example of citation indexes are Science Citation Index quarterly, published by Institute of Scientific Information. Now it has changed its name anyway. Then another one is Indian Citation Index. Indian Citation Index is developed by Knowledge Foundation. It's a registered society with the required support of Diva Enterprises Private Limited. So with this we have completed the indexing sources. Now let us see the abstracting sources. The difference between index and abstract is abstracting source provides a small summary about the content, whereas indexing source will have only two parts I have told you. That is, one is the search part, that is entry element, and the second is citation. But in abstract we are having three parts. The third part is the abstract. The abstracting sources are important links in the chain of communication between the originator of information and the user. It represents or surrogates the original information as brief summary. Similar to annotated bibliography that are prepared for a macro thought, that is for books, for journal articles, that is micro thought, abstracts are prepared. In some simple words, an abstract is a summary of document along with adequate bibliographical details so that one can trace the document and they can select whether it is useful for their requirement or not from the abstract. So far we have discussed about indexes. The next part of it is to discuss about the abstracts. Before going to the abstracts, I would like to make a little clarification about the difference between indexes and abstracts. Both indexes and abstracts have a similar function, but abstracts is having an extended function also. Both will provide the index term, that is the subject concept, that is the identifier, then about the location, that is bibliographical details of that particular journal, then there the index ends. The major difference between index and abstracts is the abstract contains a condensed information. This is also called as surrogate, that is an expert reads the entire article and what are the significant features or the significant contribution in that article, maybe the findings or maybe the methodology adopted. So whatever is significant in that particular article will be given in the abstract. So this helps the user to go through that abstract and select whether that particular information is suitable for him or not suitable for him. So he need not go through the entire article, but before going to the entire article, original article, he can go through the abstract and select whether that particular original is really useful for him or not. So this saves the time of the user. At the same time, it also helps him to know the new findings also. So this is the new knowledge developed. He need not go through the entire literature, but at the same time he is abreast of the latest developments. So if he really need of that particular article in detail, then he will go to the original article. And another thing is, if the original article is in foreign language also, he can go through it. So this is the importance of abstract over the indexes, and both the indexes and abstracts have their own importance. In detail we are going to discuss in the coming slides. So just now I told you about the structure of abstract. It is having three parts, that is the searching mechanism, keyword, citation part, that is brief information about the document, and an abstract, that is a brief summary of the original article. Index versus abstract. An index is only a key to find out where a specific data or information is located in various types of documents with focus on periodicals, whereas an abstracting source or an extension of indexes. They perform the same function in locating and recording the contents of a periodical, but various types of documents. They differ from indexes in that, by definition, they include a summary of the material indexed. And the abstract covers the main points of a piece of writing that follows the same language and terminology as used in the original by the author. Indeed, it is a brief representation of the original. So it adds value that helps the user to determine whether this particular article is useful for him or not, whether it suits to his requirements or not. If it is required, then he can go for it, original document. Otherwise, he can leave it there itself. So it saves his time also. Uses of abstracting sources. Abstracting sources serve the users who either may not read or may not have any easy access to original document with an outline for reading. It helps the reader to decide whether to read the entire article or not. It overcomes the language barrier as already explained in the indexes and also prevent duplication. It gives up-to-date information and useful for current and retrospective literature. It helps in the control of information explosion as in the case of indexes. So many publications are there. So what to read and what to be utilized, to which document actually original documents to be referred, that can be decided. Then types of abstracts. There are various types of abstracts. For example, title only abstract, which is just an extension of the title. Annotated abstract, which is an amplification of the title. These are not of much use. Indicative abstract or descriptive abstract. It generally gives, the abstracts includes procedures, findings and information about the illustrations, tables, etc. But it is not a substitute for reading the original document. Informative or comprehensive abstracts. These are the abstract actually with which we are concerned with. It provides details of the significant contributions to the knowledge contained in a document like problem, methodology, major findings and conclusions. Slanted abstract. Information or description reported in a document is oriented to a specific discipline, then we'll call it as a slanted abstract. Auto abstract, it is produced by a computer analysis of the frequently, depending upon the frequency of use of significant words. Telegraphic abstract, it is just like a telegraphic message. It is a coded symbol called using the roll indicators and punctuation symbols. The abstract will be prepared. Graphic abstracts in the field of chemistry, where a precise language of communication is available, a new type of abstract has been introduced by the current abstracts of chemistry and index chemicals that make full use of this language. This has been named as graphic abstract. That is, formulas will be connected. That gives the graphic presentation of the language. So, out of all these types of abstracts, indicative and informative abstracts have some contribution to the library and information science field. As librarians, we prefer to have informative abstracts and to some extent indicative abstract. Technically, two types of abstracting methods are more popular, that is indicative and informative. The indicative abstract indicates the type of article and the author's approach and treatment, but does not usually include specific data. That is, the original data is not available. The informative abstract summarizes enough of the data findings to relieve the reader of the necessity of always reading the original article. In neither case does the abstract make any critical assessment. So these are not the critical abstracts. So far we have seen different types of abstracts. Out of all these abstracts, informative abstracts is more important for librarians because we have to prepare them. Other abstracts we need not prepare, they are already available, but informative abstracts we have to prepare within the library. For example, long range reference service we'll call it as, or selective dissemination of information we'll call it as, or documentation services we'll call it as. All these services are information analysis and consolidation type. So in this information analysis and consolidation type, we have to prepare an informative abstract. In the informative abstract, besides providing the index term, that is the identifier, and the location marks, we have to prepare a condensed information. Usually this is to be prepared by the expert, subject expert. We the librarians also can do if the librarian is having the expertise in that particular subject, if he is familiar with that subject, if he is also a post-graduation in that particular subject, then he has right to do that. Without that expertise or within the subject knowledge, without that subject knowledge, a person cannot do that abstracting work. So in an informative abstract, we have to provide all the details of the significant presentation by an author, or the salient features of that particular article, that is to which audience it is suitable, in which context that particular research has been done, or in which context the author is presenting that information. That is the context and the audience. That is the first aspect. Then only whether it is suitable to the author or not can be decided. Then you have to present about the methodology adopted. That is the problem selected and the methodology adopted. Whether that methodology is the old one or any new methods have been adopted. If it is a new method, then it is a new trend. You have to give emphasis on that new trend. Then you have to provide information about the results. What are the findings? Every research will have some findings, but what is the salient feature, that is what is the new contribution of this particular research, that you have to highlight. So while preparing informative abstracts, all these things have to be taken care of. So the further presentation gives more details about this. The major components of an informative abstracts are the objectives of the research or the report, the methodology used in the research, and the findings of the report to include in the results, conclusions, and recommendations. Reporting has to be impersonal and use of passive voice is recommended, and a sample descriptive abstract is provided here which you can look into. Some best example of abstracting periodicals are biological abstracts, chemical abstracts, library and information science abstracts. There are in almost all subjects, each and every subject is having an abstracting periodical. As librarians, you should be familiar with all these abstracting sources. Evaluation of indexing and abstracting sources. Evaluation is necessary to measure the worthiness of the document. So here, traditionally we are following authority, scope, duplication and gaps, etc. But as far as indexing and abstracting periodicals are concerned, certain criteria are essential in addition to the general criteria like authority, scope, format, description, all these things. So, duplication and gaps, depth of indexing, currency, subject headings or the keywords which we are providing, or index terms will use it, and the description of the abstract. These are more important. According to Louis Shores, period covered, that is date, frequency, cumulations, materials indexed, that is number in terms of volumes, periodicals or articles, style of popularity or scholarly presentation, country, etc. Then form, that includes the complete or selective indexing, arrangement and entry fullness and annotation. Special features, any special features like distinct features, special characteristics of an index or abstract. For example, in chemical formulas, they may describe a particular thing, whether those special features are included or not. Now the indexing and abstracting sources are available in electronic form as databases we have seen, and what are the criteria we have to follow for the evaluation of these electronic databases? Accuracy and authoritativeness of information content, that is more important in the electronic form, because some electronic information may not have the authenticity or authoritativeness, so we have to check for it. Then regular updating of information and its reliability. Check for the ownership of domain, that is whether it is org or whether it is a private society, what is the domain. Then error-free information and other useful links to their web pages. So far in this unit we have discussed about the indexes and abstracts. We have seen how important they are in dissemination of micro-thought. We have also seen that there are different types of indexes and abstracting sources available, and we have seen some examples also, that is general, special and citation indexes, and each one has its own importance, that also we have discussed in detail, and the importance of subject indexes and how to prepare an informative abstract, and all these things also we have discussed. These indexes and abstracts are prepared by secondary source publishers that we have discussed in detail. So librarians have to procure these secondary sources. These are prepared based on the primary sources of information. So these secondary sources have to be procured because they are replacing the primary source. For example, as already told, in each subject there may be thousands of periodicals. All periodicals we cannot access or we cannot procure. So through these secondary tools, we are providing information to the user. These are the publications in your subject. This is the knowledge developed in your subject. These are the current trends in your subject. This is the current research in your subject, that we are making abreast of them. So these are the current awareness tools, at the same time secondary tools and pathfinder tools and location tools. Everything covered through these secondary sources. So these are more important than any type of secondary tools. These tools are considered as more important among the secondary sources. That is why there are a good number of secondary source publishers, and even in electronic environment also we are getting them as databases. So now through e-consortia, access is being provided to the secondary databases or secondary information sources through consortia, and almost all consortia are providing access to Science Direct, EBSCO and Emerald publishers and all these publishers. So further details you can have from the e-text also, and the reference books also, related reference books are also given in your e-text, and those also you can refer to get more information on this. Thank you very much.